which we should all take the time daily to do, because it is the first and it is the last thing we have. It is the breath. We check in into this world, we breathe in, we check out, we breathe out. And so we breathe anywhere from 20 to 23,000 times a day. It depends on who and when and where, but lots of cycles of inhales and exhales. And if we boil it down to the most vital element for survival, we can leave food pretty much at the end of it. We can start paying more attention to water, but then we can definitely not miss the air, right? Some say we can roughly live without food for 3 weeks, without water for 3 days, without air for 3 minutes. And then you can just add other stuff like sunlight, you know, and social bonding and whatnot. But the 3 most vital, if you get stripped of everything, you know, you want to start all over again, you just need air. Just the air that you breathe is what you need. And so this is how important it becomes when you realize it like that, or when you focus or think of it in this perspective. I like to just throw in a little philosophy before we get going. Welcome everybody. This is 1 hour and 20 minutes, 1 hour and a half of a workshop with some physiological exercises, some psychological training as well, and some philosophical speeches we're going to be throwing in and out throughout the whole duration of the class. So I hope everyone is comfortable and everyone is being able to listen back there, everywhere. We're transmitting live today, so make sure you wear your best smile if you have to look at the camera. No stage fright, please. Let it just flow naturally. But this is just an effort from the wellness team to just bring this to more people and just affect or impact positively more souls. So part of the workshop today is going to be breath holding, okay? And this is the first thing we're doing, actually. We're going to breath hold for as long as we can. And for that, not yet, I'll let you know when. We're going to lay on our backs comfortably. And I'm going to start a countdown. So that countdown goes from 10 to 1. When I say 1, specifically, exactly when I pronounce the number 1, that's when everyone at the same time, at unison, takes a deep breath in, an inhale. Whether it's a nasal or a mouth, you decide. We'll discuss later, mouth versus nasal breathing. But with whichever way you like, or with whatever intuition or information you have, choose either or airway and take a deep breath and hold it for as long as you can. When you start breathing again, that means you're going to have to exhale, right? Exhale fully. Because some people sometimes feel like they need to exhale a little bit after they've gotten that deep breath in, and they feel pressure, and that pressure kind of bothers them a little bit, and that kind of throws them off a little bit of the focus and concentration they want to achieve to perform a long breath hold. And so if that's the case, you're welcome to exhale a bit, but know that that air you're exhaling contains oxygen that your cells need to sustain that breath hold, which is a little picture, small picture of what breathing and oxygen does to us in the long run as we utilize it better through filling the full extent of the lung capacity, through slowing down the breath. We'll discuss those elements, which is going to be the takeaways pretty much for the whole philosophical side of proper breathing. And so again, recap, countdown. When I say 1, everybody takes that last breath in. Hold it as much as you can. When you have to exhale fully, because you have to start breathing again, raise your hand. And pay attention, because I'll point out your time. I'll tell you how long it was, okay? And so you just write it down on a mental note. And just keep it there for the second one that's coming in later, after we go through a series of exercises that are tailored to enhance or improve your capacities for holding the breath, for tolerating high CO2 levels, carbon dioxide levels, and lower levels of oxygen as well, and more mindset and more tools to navigate a breath hold, which I'm not saying necessarily you are, a free diver, or you do that for, a hobby or sport or work. holding the breath, as some people do, free divers. But it is a good baseline, it is a good indicator to see how much that adaptation to discomfort and to CO2 is. How much are you able to sit still, comfortable in your own skin, and just kind of become stronger at managing the stress responses that are going to start appearing at some point, especially after the CO2 levels go high enough. That urge to breathe, that discomfort is going to kick in. That's when you can talk to yourself and go, it's okay. I got control over my physiology, because I can actually breathe anytime I want, but I'm going to choose to dance with discomfort for a little while and just become friends with it, because I know it's going to make me stronger mentally and physically, because both adaptations kicks in. The physiological and the psychological will be enhanced. And so that'll put, say, it'll give you an extra in your endeavors as you're exerting in physical exercises, for instance. Whether it's willingly or, the circumstances, you have to walk up the walkway, the driveway to get to your room. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh my God, that was a heck of a steep hill. And then throughout exercises like this, you start adapting to those higher loads of demand of oxygen and higher loads of tolerance of CO2. Okay, so this is going to give you something extra for your physiology. It's going to become, as you engage in this practice regularly, whether it's a wrestling sport, where you're being also like pushed and pressed by another body, for instance, in his son's case, it also gives you that strength from within, in the respiratory muscles, breathing muscles. So all in all, just wanted to point out the benefits of what this workshop is going to give us. We are now then starting with the breath hold, okay? And so I'll follow up with the next exercises after we're done with this first one. Let's lay comfortably on our backs. Now we have the bolsters, the pillows, we can use them. Later, we can even remove them and try and stay completely flat. But for now, let's lay our heads in the bolsters. And I'm going to start a countdown. You guys are all ready. At 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deepest inhale of your life. Let's go. Off we go. And this is 30 seconds. We're good. And this is 38. And this is 45. Write those numbers, 49, 50, 49 and 50. 57. We just got to the minute mark, and that was 104. And this is 110. Breathe in and out strong. Those who are breathing now, 5 or 6 breaths, like really wide and strong. 120, 120. Those who are breathing again, just strong. That's 130 sharp, strong inhales and strong exhales for, say, 5 times. Through the mouth, maybe. Those who are breathing again, so we can purge, offload extra CO2 in our bloodstream. And if I'm not wrong, everyone is breathing by now. Yes. Don't kill me if you're still holding your breath and I'm here talking. Okay, we're good. Right on, guys. So This is just a little challenge within, and there's major breakthroughs achieved at the end of it on the second one, because we are actually going to train ourselves. And also, it could happen, it happens often, that that last breath wasn't what you wanted, or there was something bothering you and you wish it wouldn't be like that because you know you can do better. All that mental chatter, no worries. We're going to get rid of it later, and you're going to see how that second breath hold is going to be stronger and longer. Okay, through your lower peripheral vision, most likely you're able to see me, and I'll ask you to see me just so I can point out something really quick. We are grabbing those yoga blocks and starting diaphragmatic breathing exercise. Let me just demonstrate and explain first, and then you guys do the participation. You'll put it in on top of your lower belly or belly button, and you're going to try and raise that block as high as possible and drop it as low as possible. Okay, raise it as high. I placed a block on each of your, sorry, I didn't point that out, on your left. So there's actually one missing that belonged to somebody. Yeah, all good. I should have pointed out that they were all in your left, sorry. So friends, on the inhale, we're trying to raise that block as high as possible. On the exhale, we're trying to drop it as deep as possible, okay? Now, those inhales and exhales are going to be done through the mouth, only for the particular reason or purpose of training. Why is that? Because our mouths and tracheas have more suctioning power, more traction power than the nostrils and nasal passages. And so, for this breathing, particularly for the diaphragmatic, oftentimes we find that there is, let's say, bit of a stagnation on that muscle, and I'll explain in a little while for those who are not familiar with it what that muscle can do, what that muscle represents for our health. Okay, it is basically the most important muscle in the breathing system, or respiratory as well. And so we need to just give it a nice stimuli, and that is achieved easier through, I would like for you to see me really quick, through a nice pull of air through the mouth with an O-shaped lips pattern. And why is that O-shaped lip pattern? Is because we want to restrict the airflow, just so we make that muscle, we force that muscle to really engage in order to pull the lungs down, to expand them downwards, to inhale that air. So that's going to be our inhale, okay? And that's where the block goes up. Then you hold it at top. Hold it at the top for 3 seconds as you press up a little higher, and then let the air out with an S prolonged sound that lasts for 5 times more than your inhale. And that's going to be your pattern for 3 minutes. Okay, so let's keep going, and I'll keep reminding. Strong, shorter burst of inhale inwards. A 3-second hold as you press up even higher, and then sound, S sound, exhale that lasts 3, 4, 5 times longer than your inhale, okay? There we go. And on that inhale, as you do it through that vacuum-like pattern through the mouth and trachea, analyze bodily sensations internally and feel how there's a little tension created internally around the belly and the ribs. And that's the idea, that those muscles are engaging and expanding the lungs, thus expanding the lungs on those bottom areas where there's more volume and there's more oxygen absorption or diffusion. Since there's more area, there's more volume in the bottom of the lungs. That's the first area that we want to tap into. So that's the idea for the diaphragmatic breathing. It's actually number 1, utilizing the area of our lungs where there's more volume, the bottom third. If we were to divide the lungs into 3 stages or phases, Number two, not less important, it's connecting with the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. And that is done through the vagus nerve, cranial nerve number 10. As we breathe with AKA our bellies or abdominal area, that's actually our diaphragm. Belly or abdominal breathing is just a cue. What really is your diaphragm, that muscle that sits underneath your lungs, that helps the lungs to expand downwards. That muscle, the diaphragm, connects with the brain, through that cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, and it basically sends a signal telling your brain, hey, release the feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters, thus allowing for more muscle relaxation, better blood flow, bradycardia, or lowering of the heart rate, then helping you to achieve a deeper level of awareness, relaxation, deep parasympathetic activation, rest, digest, and recover. So that's the idea for this type of breathing, guys. After we train that muscle with our mouth and trachea, which is again a more accessible, a stronger airway, then we can switch to the nasal passages, okay? Which we are going to do at the end of the workshop. But for now, just keep analyzing the bodily sensations of that expansion on the bottom of the lungs, that engagement of the diaphragm, which sometimes is felt by a little tension around the belly, around the abdominal area. Remember to hold your breath for 3 seconds at the top, right? When you get that inhale fully in, you lock the air in, press your belly up a little more. And on top of that, for the last minutes, we're going to, as we go for layers and layers of body awareness, we are tightening or squeezing the perineal muscle, the muscle in between the legs, your pubic muscle, almost like if you're holding and waiting to get to the restroom, to do number one, right? When you're holding. Yeah, when you're holding at the top and pressing up, you then engage that perineal muscle, as if you're holding number one. So that's pretty much to protect the pelvic floor from getting pressure going downwards, okay? Keep that pelvic floor tight and nice. You can start squeezing that at the end of your inhale and keep the squeeze through the hold, through the breath hold. And then as you start exhaling, you can start relaxing that muscle again. This is all pelvic floor health. Good job, guys. That is your quintessential diaphragmatic breathing, breathing for relaxation, breathing for more oxygen diffusion and oxygen utilization, and more muscle control, neuromuscular connection and control. You are controlling and modulating your physiology. And I love when people either laugh or yawn. These are signals of parasympathetic activation. You are happy, you are relaxed, you are healthy. There are endorphins even flowing through. There's serotonin, there's GABA, acetylcholine, there's some good neurotransmitters going through. Yeah. Awesome, guys. So we are now done with the blocks. Let's place them on our left, or for the purpose, if we have already one on the left, we can place it on the back if there's. Okay, awesome. Right on. So next exercise is going to be done in teams of 2. You can perform this exercise on your own, but it's better with somebody supporting or helping you. This next exercise is all about to train the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between the ribs. These are your secondary muscle group for both inhaling and exhaling, for expiration and inspiration, expiration. So in these muscles between the ribs reside the responsibility, if you will, of expanding your rib cage. Because breathing is a 360 degree, is a multi-directional and dimensional action of the body. Your lungs not only expand downwards, they expand sideways, they expand back, they expand forward, and they expand upwards. And did you know, by the way, that the lungs are not muscles? The lungs are organs, and they serve as containers for air and treatment plants, quote unquote, for gas exchange. But the tissue, the pulmonary tissue on its own can contract and expand. It relies on the muscles around them, like the diaphragm, which we just engaged and trained, which is great, because not only gives us that benefit of helping the lungs to expand further downwards, utilizing, I say it again, the wider area, which is the bottom third, where there's more concentration of alveoles or alveoli, the air sacs with capillaries that are responsible to bring the oxygen into the system and to let CO2 out. There's way more alveolar concentration in the bottom third. And curiously enough, and sad enough also, 80%, roughly speaking, of world population are not engaging, not expanding that bottom third, not driving the air down there as often as they should. Not to say that most times they don't. So when you take the time to explore the bottom, the depths of your lungs, of your respiratory areas, there's benefits to be achieved, and there's new circuits being fired or refired or rewired in order to claim that physiological, proper, God-given structure back, if you will. So that is, it's an interesting thing that breathing is becoming more popular, you know, the breath work, but it is not as sexy as lifting, for instance, or running, you know, or any other form of physical endeavor or sport or hobby or wellness practice, if you will. If you can just put in a few more examples, as now the contrast therapy and the sauna, which we also do with lots of awareness as well. But breathing itself seems like such a, you know, subtle, sometimes even not very significant part of the equation. But I like to think of, you know, those elements that a lot of people don't pay attention as counterintuitively thinking the foundational, the most important, the ones that you should start with and then start building from that. It's like sleep, which is the bed or foundation for your health. Breath goes along, I would say, side and side. Okay, guys, so speaking of the intercostal, moving up, right? Now this is the muscle group that's going to give you that nice lateral breathing, that expansion sideways. And those muscles also need to be trained. How do we train muscles that are not able to bend because they don't have joints? Well, we basically engage them. We cause tension. We just put tension into them, and we apply force against them. And that's how it's going to be now. So we are going to pick a partner, and we're going to work in groups of 2. I'm going to ask you to sit on your buns now and pick a partner and sit behind that person. I may grab one of you as a test modal, because what we're about to do is press onto each other's ribs. Okay, we're basically squeezing each other's ribs and breathing while we squeeze. Okay, so there's going to be one person, and I can actually use Brittany and what's your name again, bro? And Rich as a modal, so you guys can probably look, and I'll just walk you through it. Okay.
Okay.
So you have 2 options. You can sit like legs wide open behind her, and use your legs to help your arms to press, because your arms, you're going to notice how when you're pressing with only your arms, you're going to feel some tension in the deltoids, and it's going to be a little shaky because it's mechanical. Yeah, I know. Even if you're strong, I know, you know, you look strong, but it's going to feel a little bit, you know, like, so you use your legs to help your arms to press a little firmer, because guys, these muscles are very strong, but they can get stronger, and we can become more aware of, you know, activating them. And so they're strong. So you're going to have to press firmly so that she, on a nice strong inhale, this time deactivating the lower belly, just keeping it flat and trying to keep the shoulders from shrugging, so keep them low. All the energy, all that air is going to go to the center, to the mid, you know, section of the respiratory areas, thus expanding those ribs. And then by you pressing, those muscles have to work harder. And guys, let me put it this way, the stronger you are in your respiratory or breathing muscles, the healthier you are. Because if you talk about biomarkers and health and longevity indicators, you know, you have HRV, heart rate variability, you have blood pressure, you have constant glucose levels in your blood, you have grip strength, you have, what else? Is there anything else you guys can think of as longevity, you know, biomarkers? Well, I guess I went ahead and said most of them, you know, at least what science now, and VO2 max, right? VO2 max, which is, you know, maximum oxygen consumption that your muscles can do while working, you know, at thresholds of, you know, zone 4 or 5, like at high intensity. So anyhow, guys, one very important one is lung capacity. If your lung capacity, which not only is the volume, right, in liters, but how your inspiratory or either or and expiratory or strengths, inspiratory and expiratory strengths are, and you can run a spirometry test, you know, with, they're going to give you an estimate on how you're doing, like your breathing or yeah, your breathing age, if you will. This is great training for that, and this is one of the most important ones because of what all of the context that I was providing earlier, how important the way it is that we use air and we use the oxygen. So go ahead and place your hands in her ribs, wherever you feel the most bone density, okay? There you go. And Brittany, you're gonna do your strongest effort to bring in that air in a very, very intentional way, like, okay, like become a vacuum for 3 seconds, like just as much air, pressing firmly, yes. And you're going to be blown away by how much you can feel her ribs moving out. There you go, and exhale fully. There you go, stronger again this time. There you go, and stronger the press, stronger the inhale, go ahead. Which you can slightly see, he can really feel, which is the muscle activation. There you go. The muscle activation, the way the torso becomes very solid and robust, and it actually grows in size sideways. It's below the chest, close, but it'll be at chest. We're definitely using it a little while. That's the third yeah, that's the third and the last of 3. But right now it's just the ribs. I know it is not easy to kind of, like, how do I breathe with my ribs? Well, just try to keep the belly in and try to keep the shoulders from shrugging, okay? This will be the 2 ways in which you redirect or force, there you go. And every inhale is going to get better and better as you become more aware of keeping shoulders down. Yeah, and the belly, and the belly flat as much as you can, not engage the belly breathing that you were doing previously. So you guys, however you want to configure the oh yeah, and then, well, you're gonna get tired at some point, so you switch now, and you gotta bear hug your boy because his looks strong. He's a strong boy. There you go. So guys, don't be gentle. Be firm on that pressing.
So how many seconds does she breathe in for and I hold for?
That's a good question. Guys, let's breathe in for, say, 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Make that inhale strong and quick, and exhale right away. Try not to hold your breath in this. Well, actually, let's hold for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Just while you hold, you press out. We are pretending, friends, that we are spitting the air through the ribs for those 2 seconds of the hold. And then exhale fast. And you keep pressing the whole time.
The whole time I press.
Yes, yes. So,
She breathes and holds and I press.
exactly.
And we do that until she's tired.
Exactly. Well, let's do 3 to 4 cycles and then switch because our arms get a little workout. So we don't want to cause too much strain. So 2 to 3 breaths and that's it. And then we'll switch. 3, maybe 4 breaths and then we'll switch. And then the pressing must be firm, must be very, very firm so you can really feel those ribs expanding. And some lats also, some of the lat muscle is going to be definitely felt being engaged. The latimus dorsi is going to be, the lats are going to be also engaged on that expansion. Can you feel the ribs?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. And you're doing the little hack with the legs pressing. That's great. Awesome. I think it's probably about time you guys switch. Good job. Right on. There you go. Try and keep the backs. Let's try to keep the back straight throughout the whole exercise. Back straight. Posture is important. Posture is very important, so keep the back straight. And guys, emphasize on that. Like, yeah, that inhale must be very strong. Restrict the airflow, but not too much. Just leave a little more of an opening, Kiki. Feel how that traction power goes through the trachea all the way down. I'm going to sit in front of you and just do 1 or 2. Yeah. Maybe a little higher up, just tiny little. There you go. That's nice pressure. Good training partner. Fully in and fully out. Good job. That's good training partner, man. Good, strong. Awesome. Yes. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's nice. I got a little training too. Awesome, guys. So this is it. Could you feel the expansion? That's great. You feel the engagement of those muscles? That's great. Excellent. Excellent, guys. Everybody was able to feel how those muscles are working, right? And being engaged, right? That's great. Okay. It's work and it's a good workout and it's worth every second of it. There's a guy called Stig Severinsen and he's a world freediving record holder. And these guys rely a lot on how strong their breathing muscles are in order to fill those lungs as much as possible. If the liters go up, their capacities go up as well. So if we can get our lungs to recover the full volume that we once had, which oftentimes, I'm telling you, you may or may not be in that boat, but I was, and I'm very, perfectly fine with. I'm very aware of training and wellness, and even then I had that habit of, and still have it. I have to slap myself sometimes in the face and go, hey, what's up? I'm breathing with my chest, breathing short, breathing with my mouth. And these are 3 of the things that today I really wanted to, emphasize and stress in a good way, which is, mouth breathing. Let's discuss briefly. Mouth breathing has more cons than pros. Let's talk about them. So, and I would like to make it an interactive conversation. I actually will start with you guys. Anybody can tell me a con of mouth breathing. Yeah, that's right. Dehydration because you are bringing in dry air, and so your cells are not getting the, you're actually, the air is not being humidified as it does through the nostrils because of the nasal passages and the mucosa layer and all that. We'll discuss later. Yeah, yeah. When we speak about the nasal breathing, we'll talk about that. That's great. Please save it for a little later. But so cons, right? Contrast of breathing through the mouth. So dehydration. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Snoring can even affect your relationship, of course. Yeah, yeah. And in fact, with my wife and I, we've already had to talk about taping our mouths and stuff just to preserve. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Nose strips and mouth tape, both. Yeah, yeah. That's a good combo. I brought some mouth tape for you guys. I always like to. Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah. Oh yes. As long as you don't have blockage, like full blockage of, you have to assess if your nasal passages or at least one of them is active. And by the way, every certain hours or certain amount of hours, the nasal passages will one or the other will be blocked, and so at some point both will be active or open. But this is something that the body does also naturally.
So that doesn't have anything to do with, I'm getting a cold, so I'm stuffed up. It's like your body is constantly.
It depends because when most likely, in my opinion, for the little that I've researched on that side of things, that's deep physiological studies. When you only have one, and then you realize that 5-6 hours later that one is active again, and the other one is blocked, there must be something, right? Because when you have allergy or when you have a lot of mucus or you have you get a cold, it's usually both. Right? It's usually both because the mucus just takes over, floods everything. But when it's one or the other, and you can notice that later on, it's the other way around, it's what I'm talking about, and including an opening of both. In fact, I've been reading literature that's more leaning on the Ayurvedic side of things and the yogic side of things, and this a PhD guy in cellular and biochemistry, which is a Breathwork facilitator from India. So it doesn't get more legit than that. His name is Sundar Balasubramanian. It's got a long name and a very Hindu name, Sundar. He wrote a book called Mind Your Breath. Mind Your Breath. And it lists 30 techniques with depictions of the nostrils and the lungs and the energy channels they called I can't recall right now, but there's so, and then he talks in that book about some cultures waiting for the moment they have both nostrils completely open to make life-changing or important decisions. Isn't it crazy? And it relates to the way in which, energetically speaking, the nostrils are connected with the brain hemispheres. And one brain hemisphere, the right one, is for creativity, for connection, for dreams and the divine, and then so that's left nostril, right brain hemisphere. Okay. Right nostril, left hemisphere is more numbers, negotiation, pragmaticism, right? Thinking a little more cold, and using more the logic of I can only believe in what I can see kind of mindset, which is great. I mean, both are great, but when you lean too much into one or the other, you may be a bit too much of a dreamer or a bit too much of a square person. So these guys wait until both nostrils are open. That means that both hemispheres are merging together and creating this very level-headed, if you will, state in which decision making can go wrong.
You don't balance a checkbook with the stuff.
I'm sorry?
You don't balance a checkbook with the stuff right nostril.
Oh yeah. And well, there's also, that's an interesting question, because there's also the breathing techniques like the anulom vilom in Sanskrit, or the These are names in Sanskrit that means alternate nostrils, alternate nostril technique, yeah, in which you seek to drive the air from one to the other and back. Yeah, it's a great practice. It's very relaxing. It gives you that mental edge and focus. And there might be something also because CO2, for instance, is a vasodilator. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. Sometimes because of the capillaries and the nasal passages are swelling, are inflamed, through running CO2, through producing nasal nitric oxide and exhaling it and inhaling it, you may be decreasing that inflammation and thus opening so there's many crevices and there's many little branches and in which this conversation can go into. Very interesting.
So if I sleep better on my right side because my left nostril is more open.
Interesting. See, well, I'd like to take note of that and just go on further research. You sleep on your right side and you feel like your left nostril gets more active.
More air.
More air.
That one just taking more air than the right one.
Awesome. Well, that's great.
Because you were saying, if you're right, wait, so your right
You-
nostril open.
My left.
Left. So left is more parasympathetic, is more brain
Side is more.
dreams.
I'm not remembering.
Yeah, but that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, let me tell you something about dreams. Now that you said that, when I first, started taping my mouth, I started having lucid dreams for the first time in years. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is great, boom. But then it kind of started slowing down. I guess, you kind of get used to it or there's something, I don't know what it is. But I could totally feel the change, literally in the way my dreams were so lucid and also the sleep got better, okay? Because of the hydration issue or dehydration issue. Yeah, I stopped going to the restroom, to pee so many times when I stopped breathing
A
through.
lot of that mouth thing.
Yes. Each person is going to experience something different, I guess. But yeah, it happened to me. And so at the end of the session, I'll pass one to each. And this one has got that sort of kinesio tape style where you can actually open your mouth if you like to drink water or talk to somebody, but it presses the lips down and up and inwards. So you kind of force yourself to it, but then you can still again talk and drink water.
So send an Amazon link, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, of course. Well, I'll take a picture and send it. No, definitely. These are the things that we got to share, guys, because we are going through the same issues all across modern society. We're going through the same issues of sleep deprivation and overstimulation and anxiety, because it is just the modern world that we went from candle lights 100 200 years ago, I don't know, to like incandescent flickering LED lights that are disrupting our circadian rhythms, telling us it's 12 p.m. at noon when it's like 8 o'clock at night and we're trying to get some sleep, and melatonin production is slowed down, and then we don't get that recovery that we need, all that. I mean, it's just all around us. So it is good to become aware of it. And what once kind of used to be seen as that's a bunch of out there stuff, it's now being proven by science, guys. It's crazy. So it's nice to pay attention to it. So breathing is one good part of the conversation, guys. Okay, so the idea for this gradual approach to a full breath and to the right order is to, again, train ourselves in a little 1 hour and a half session to then come out, walk away going, okay, nice. We're supposed to engage the belly first. 99% of the times. 99% of the times we're supposed to start with what we just started, the diaphragmatic breathing, which we trained with the yoga block. But ideally, if you do the exercise right now, as we are speaking, as we are here sitting, just try to inhale and exhale through your nostrils, which is the second part of the equation that I like to bring about, which is the importance, again, as we were just discussing. We should follow up and finish the nasal versus mouth conversation before we keep going. But that's the second part, okay, is nasal breathing, okay? And third and last is slowing down the breathing pattern. So engaging the belly first, then the ribs. If you need, by the way, super important, if you needed the accessory muscles, aka chest, traps, neck, pectoral minor, trapezius, there's 2 trapezius I think, or 3, anyhow, and sternocleidomastoid and scalene. All those, muscles that will help you to shrug your shoulders and tilt your head back. These are the tertiary, the last that will need to engage. And we do that when we need extra air to come in. And that means when we are exerting a physical exercise and the rate of air that is needed surpasses the rate of air that we are able to supply with only the belly and the ribs. That's when we engage. We put them on. That's why they're called accessory muscles. You just put them when you need them. But other than that, your main ones are diaphragm and intercostals, and of course abdominal and obliques and some lats. Okay, those for inhaling, exhaling, nice. Okay, so again, belly, ribs, and chest, that's the right order. Nasal breathing, let's keep on the conversation. Cons for mouth breathing, it actually alters your facial factions or patterns. Your teeth shape, the way the mouth and the jaw, it recesses the jaw on the long run. It blocks, it facilitates for snoring, because when the jaw relaxes so much at night, it drops, and that's what obstructs the airways, and then it causes that snoring. Sleep apnea also is another con of mouth breathing, and all that dust mites and bacteria that are running in and out through your mouth with no filtering. As you said, there's a filtering system throughout the nasal passages. There's non-existing in the mouth. So all of that will produce teeth or tooth decay in the long run. So some of the cavities and issues that we have and in the mouth could be accredited not only to all the sugars and sitting there for a while and all the acids, but everything else that goes in and out at night especially. So mouth breathing, guys, in my opinion, the 5 moments in which mouth breathing comes in handy is training, as we did right now and we're going to keep doing. Because of what? Because of more power. Yeah, more power, definitely always open. There's no obstruction as we sometimes go through via a deviated septum or cold or inflammation or whatnot. Number 2, recovery. Recovery, why? Because it's a wider airway. So if you need to, for instance, in surfing, you're getting pounded by many waves in a row, and you have to actually sometimes drop the board and just go under, swim under the waves. Woo, there's like a few seconds only between one wave and the other. And if your heart is going like this, boom, 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 and you're like gasping for air, well, what a better way to recover than your mouth, because it just allows you to get more air quicker, And there is a thing called recovery breath that sounds and looks like this. You notice it's like a super strong, quick hold, and then P sound exhale. Very similar to what jet pilots in World War II, this breathing method called the hook breath. These guys had to apply that in order to not faint and crash because the changes of altitude were so abrupt that there'll be a lack of oxygen, and they'll have to just I'll have to research a little more, but the hook breath was brought by the Army, by the Air Force, into the scene, the public scene, where these guys will quickly recover and inject or push more oxygen into the lungs. Because when you do that hold, you do a quick hold. I don't know if you notice that I'm dropping my shoulders. After I shrug them, I drop them. When I drop them, all that air that I was able to get in by shrugging them up quick, the pull starts from the bottom, but it goes all the way to the top. So it's a 3-stage in 1 second. When I drop my shoulders, I'm squeezing my lungs. And what happens when you squeeze your lungs like that with air inside? Well, you are increasing the pressure internally, which means The alveoles or the alveoles, the air sacs with capillaries are opening. Like if you were blowing air into a half bloomed flower, it's going to open. That's what the PEEP, positive expiration pressure does, and what the CPAPs does, the ventilators does. That's what they do. Yeah, exactly. And so as you force air in, you open the alveoli. Alveolus can capture more oxygen. It's like you're pushing. You're shoving, you're pushing oxygen down the alveoli. That's it. But you do that repetitively, like, and then all of a sudden you recover that oxygen that you needed. And also you're letting go extra CO2 in case also that was, like you've been using your body and producing a lot of CO2, and the CO2 high levels will drive that urge to breathe. Anyhow, a little bit of a complex stuff, I know, but that's a good question. That's a good question. You do that when you do those sort of like, it's almost like a controlled hyperventilation. You only want to do it maybe a handful of times. Yeah. For instance, when free divers, somebody holds their breath for a long time, they come up to surface, that's the first thing they do. Why? Because as they've been holding their breath, CO2 levels are going up, and oxygen levels are going down. But the high CO2 levels is what usually really causes that urge to breathe, that discomfort. And so when you surface, oh boy, you really have to, just to lower that to baseline, and also get the oxygen level up to that baseline so you don't black out. Very interesting stuff. So guys, third and last is going to be your chest, shoulders, the accessory muscles, okay? Remember, this is very important. You use them when you need them. And this is most likely when you're exerting a physical exercise, or you're gasping for air, like again, you're going through waves, but it is controlled, right? It is different than when somebody goes, and it's like the breath takes a life of its own and just drags that person through that uncontrolled pattern. You want to keep control, okay? Even when, I know it's hard, when you're really tired and you're gasping for air, is really hard to keep control. It's the same as when you enter the cold tub yesterday. That first reflex that kicks in is the I know it's hard, but if you just mentalize yourself, if you just go, no, I'm just gonna go all in and just throw a nice strong first inhale through the mouth, because again, this is the one that offers us more power. And even if you feel tense, you did it. You just did it. You just killed it. You just wiped off that hyperventilation, kind of uncontrolled, super sympathetic, super, fight or flight response. And then you just did your first step, and then just got to keep diligently working on repeating the same pattern over and over. Focus one breath at a time, just like you focus one step at a time when you're hiking, or one stroke at a time when you're swimming, or so let's do the chest, and then we're going to, or the accessory muscles, and then we'll put them all together into a one deep breath, again, from the foundation, from the depths, from the bottom all the way to the top, and we'll just keep breathing like that for a little while until we get ready for the second and last breath hold, okay, in which we're going to compare the times. When Rich comes back, we'll keep going with the nasal now, okay, nasal benefits. We'll do that later. We've already discussed, yes please.
Are you going to talk about Wim Hof breathing or box?
I could.
If we don't have time, but
Let's do that at the end.
it helped me so much when you taught us that last
Okay. Yeah, Wim Hof, I like it for sure, and it's got also its little things that we need to address in order to do it properly. That's great. Yeah, I love it. So friends, what we're doing now is just the accessory muscle. For that, again, back straight. Let's place one hand. This is typically something that we do. We just try to have an indicator on the areas. Whether it's like the belly, or the ribs, or the chest. Okay, we can just to kind of address the area and how it feels. We can always try and sort of feel that. And so we go. This is how it's going to look and feel. Rich, we're starting. We didn't miss much. We're just philosophizing on the gas levels in the blood, and the hook breath, which is a controlled form of hyperventilation to get rid of CO2. Yeah. Normal stuff people talk about every day, right? And so this is the third and last, okay, of the three that we're putting together after. It's gonna look and sound like this. Then puff up your chest, hold those 3 seconds, maybe gentle taps, you know, on the sternum or whatnot, or so that's the top of your lungs, okay? Let's visualize this. There's the last 2 ribs are attached to the top of the lungs. When we shrug our shoulders, when we tilt our head back, we are pulling those 2 ribs up, and those 2 ribs are pulling the top of the lungs up. And when you're doing that in the inhale, then the air is going up, is stretching that cap of the tip of the mountains, if you will. So what we did, guys, through the diaphragmatic breathing, we were expanding downwards as we should, connecting with the parasympathetic, creating more muscle control. What we did with the intercostal was expanding sideways, expanding back, right? Giving the lungs the opportunity, guys, to go further into their expansion as they should, thanks to those muscles we were engaging. And lastly, again, as I just explained and described, the top, okay? We're expanding the top upwards. So we're really giving those lungs a nice stretch and a nice, volume utilization. And this is going to leave a nice footprint for the rest of the days.
So we're not using our nose at all, right?
Not yet. So mouth for training purposes. And I fell short. I said I was going to point out first is the recovery, the training, right? Training, recovery. Well, swimming, public speech, and singing, in my opinion. That's for, when you want to use the mouth for breathing. Other than that, you can't really smell through the mouth. Mouth is for talking, mouth is for kissing, mouth is for eating, tasting, right? But other than that, you can use it for recovery. You can use it, for training. And that'll be the airway most likely when you swim. That'll be the airway most likely when you do a public speech. That's it. Nasal breathing we'll discuss later. For now, let's keep going to the third and last, okay? So let's throw in, you're gonna start feeling that nice pulling or tension, maybe right around the sternum, maybe around the upper ribs, and then just keep going up, 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 up. And did you see that body language at the end of it? I'm like, trying to squeeze in that last bit of air, and finally I drop my shoulders, I puff up my chest while holding, and then I exhale, okay? Then I exhale. Let's do it together. 3, 2, and 1. Drop shoulders, puff up your chest, hold your breath, 3 seconds, and exhale. At your own pace, let's keep going. The idea is to feel and visualize that the top of your lungs are being expanded upwards, and then you drop the weight on them, causing that nice pulmonary pressure. Two more breaths, since this area may get you to feel lightheaded a little bit. That's it. 1 or 2 more breaths. That's it. Good job, guys. Excellent. Yeah, sighing is great. I always like sighing. Amazing. So, how do you feel? A little bit lightheaded, maybe? Yeah, it's normal. So we have receptors for pressure and for chemicals in the carotid artery. And when we start, shrugging shoulders, and we start bringing the air more to the accessory muscles, those receptors will sometimes cause changes in the, that's an interesting sound, in the oxygen delivery and saturation, and that may be causing a little, also because, please, you can feel it, right? Like a little tension.
Or is it just like, okay, I'm breathing more deeply? Because I was thought like, oh,
In my like using my intuition and some of the information that I have, I feel that's a bit of a activation of the sympathetic the fight or flight. Yeah, exactly. Because usually both inhales, so check this out, yes. Inhales, mouth breathing, and accessory muscles. Those three, they gravitate more towards fight or flight responses. Not necessarily, that doesn't mean that it has to be like that all the time, because if you're breathing through the mouth, but you're breathing deep, right? You're breathing, then you're countering that. But usually the mouth gets read or gets the interpretation of the brain is, hey, mouth, right? Oh, I'm scared. I gotta leave. I'm hyperventilating. It's usually the mouth, the one that does that. That's the usual suspect for sympathetic activation. The accessory muscles, again, because when people are scared, people hyperventilate, people get, anxious, it's all up here, okay? And then the other one was, so mouth, this, and the, oops, things in perspective. Thank you. I like that mindset. You're teaching me something. So, yeah, so let's just connect with the 3 stages in one, okay? Now that we've done them all, we do belly, ribs, and chest together, okay? Guys, we're gonna do this laying, but before you lay, let me just demonstrate 1 or 2 cycles or rounds of it, okay? If you're able to see my belly, my ribs, and my chest, this is how it's going to look. That's pretty much full lung capacity. I'm going to throw in another one for good measure. So I'm emphasizing, I'm trying to pull as much air in a sustained way as possible. Disclaimer for this one, or heads up for this one, sometimes if you engage too much belly first, you bring in too much air into the lower areas, you're gonna feel like you don't have enough to keep going up. So as long as you feel like you've done a nice initial activation or engagement of the belly, then just keep going up, okay? Yeah, so know that after this, we are transitioning to a relaxation phase in which we are actually going for the second and last breath hold, okay? So we're gonna do this for, say, we're gonna use the mouth, and we're gonna do this for maybe a minute, and then we're transitioning to the nostrils, okay? So let's do it. I wanna see everybody's bellies, ribs, and chest engaging in that right order. It's very windy today. That's what it threw that. Belly, ribs, and chest, guys. Torta, Maria. Good. Tapping. Why not? And in a little while, I'm going to pass by and just gently remove the bolsters. If you want to keep your bolster under your head, you just let me know. But for this exercise and the breath hold, the second and last breath hold, I want you guys to be as neutral and natural as possible as you lay. So keep going with your 3 stages. Remember that the only reason why we're using the mouth now is for training purposes, but ideally you'll be doing nasal breathing. In fact, we're transitioning to nasal breathing in a little while.
Is there an exhale version also?
That is a very good question. If you want to achieve extra muscle control, you can exhale in the opposite order. So as you finish with the chest, then you start with your chest, your exhale. You can start at the chest, then deflate your ribs, and then finally squeeze the belly in at the end. That's a very good question. Thanks. Do you mind if I remove the bolster? Okay, let's just try it without a bolster and see how it feels. You can always, there you go, all guys here already removed them. I'll give you a hand. If it feels good without a bolster, that's awesome. If not, you can always keep that bolster. Let me know. Okay. There you go. You okay? You're tough. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Awesome, guys. Melissa, do you want me to remove the bolster?
Sure, of course. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kiki, no bolster?
No bolster.
Okay. I'll grab that from you if you want. Belly, ribs, and chest. You want me to remove the bolster, bro? Okay. Great. Okay. Everybody laying neutral. Maybe Shavasana, you know, like the yoga Shavasana pose will be the best. I'm gonna take those blocks too. Guys, keep reiterating the sensation, the feeling, the right order, the control of your musculature, of your breathing muscles. And after one more breath, let's transition to nasal breathing, my friends. Nasal breathing. And so we're using the same principles, the same concepts, slowing down the breath, belly, ribs, and chest. But now we're doing it through the nostrils, thus achieving a very coherent, very functional breathing pattern, which ideally should be the way in which we are breathing in daily basis, in our day-to-day lives. Belly, ribs, and chest, nasal and slow. And this is functional and coherent breathing. Logical and congruent with our physiology, with our design, with the way we were supposed to function, the way we were designed. Belly first, then ribs, then if you need them, accessory muscles. Shoulders, neck, traps, chest. Now I'm going to talk to you about the breath holding journey and some tools that you can apply while you're holding your breath to make it last longer. It's a mindset thing. First of all, body scanner. So you run a virtual body scanner from head to toes. And believe it or not, there might be places in your body that you feel that they're completely relaxed until the body scanner goes through. Then you realize you still need it. You still had an extra inch of relaxation to apply. Whether it's your hands sitting or your legs sitting at a certain position, and maybe just, your arms on top of your belly. Maybe you want to just keep them next to you and just let them kind of rest on the sides, like Shavasana pose, in yoga. Maybe it was something with the neck or even the facial muscles. Maybe it is something with the hips. So run a body scan, and every time the body scanner goes through, you just reiterate more relaxation, more relaxation, more relaxation. You just drop and soften everything. Number 2, that'll be your positive self-talk.
This is amazing. What I'm doing today is epic, is different. I am becoming stronger. So that's your positive self-talk, your own mantras. I am strong, I am healthy, I am resilient. I am doing something special for myself. Gone through a lot and I'm still here, healthy, happy, wealthy, got friends, got a family, I got a spouse, I got a partner, I got a puppy, I got anything that you are grateful for. Got a good job. I have the opportunity to live some life and to go and explore some places. It's a great week ahead. I am strong, I am healthy, I am powerful, I am intelligent. All those amazing positive self-talk phrases. Each person has a different one. We're all looking, after all, for the same thing, which is to be happy, to find joy. So pronounce those phrases in your head as you're holding your breath. Not yet, right? I mean, this is just a quick explanation. And then, guys, visualization will be the third. And visualizing yourself very vivid, very sharply, living the moment in your head of presenting that amazing artwork for an exhibition, or crossing the finish line with your best personal in your wristwatch, or on the timer on the finish line, that you can see, wow, I just did my best personal. Or achieving this dancing move that you're long time practicing, that was super hard. Or what I mean by this is any art form, hobby, sport, anything that will bring joy to you, that you really like, that you've been working for, that you want to achieve. Maybe it's surfing this week. Visualize yourself really breaking through that move that you want, whether it's just standing up with proper stance and staying low, looking forward, flowing through the water, a nice blue wall of water. Okay, just find your own motives, find your own, and just focus. Visualize yourself doing that. Maybe you're a chef and you're presenting like the best dish ever to a group of friends, or it could be anything that brings you joy. Okay, so those 3 or 4 techniques will work to help you cope with the breath holding process. And I want to let you know that the first phase of the breath hold should be super relaxing, super pleasant, because Mother Nature and your biology are helping you, are actually in your favor by lowering your heart rate. So use that moment, use that state, and just try to make it last as long as possible. If discomfort kicks in, keep focusing on your relaxation techniques, on your visualizations, on your inner mantras, etc. You can count seconds slowly with Mississippi's in between. You can focus on the fountain, on the background, the sound, or the gentle piano music that's playing. There's many little hacks and conscious distractions that you can apply in order to let that nice sensation last longer. Ultimately, when discomfort kicks in, acknowledge it. It is your friend, and just let it be. And maybe gently try push it away. It'll come back. It's okay. Just be with it, cope with it. And then when it's time to breathe, just breathe. And remember to raise your hands so I can point out your time. Okay, friends, we're going to throw 10 sighs. So sighing 10 times before we count down. And that last breath in, by the way, is going to pack all that air that your lungs can sustain through your activation, your previous activation, through all the training we just did. You're going to be able to use belly, ribs, and chest to the max Okay, the maximum capacity so you can get a very nice last breath. Let's keep sighing. Few more sighs. We are aiming for a very last breath in that's packed with air, that's full lung capacity driven. We're gonna crush it this time. Remember your first time? Okay, we're gonna break that best personal for sure. Few more sighs. Full relaxing, body scanner, remember, and all those techniques, remember the visualization, the positive self-talk, all of those we're going to be using. I'm going to start a countdown. Please keep sighing in a controlled way, finding more and more relaxation. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, mouth inhale, fully in, 1, let's go. Amazing. Good job everybody on that last breath in. Now it's time to relax. Body scanner from head to toes, fully relaxed, staying strong in that mindset. Enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Body scanner, soften the facial muscles. Even smile if you want. Guys, you're getting close to 1 minute. And it only feels like 30 seconds. Good job, everybody. We just got to a minute. And that was actually 105. That's good. Doubled it. Doubled it. Little by little, putting the work in. You can always go longer. You always have more in you. We are getting close to 1 minute and 30 seconds. And that was 1:30 sharp. Good job, everybody. Keep focusing. And remember, discomfort is your friend. And that was 1:42, 1:43. Remember those breaths to offload CO2, those recovery breaths or hook breath. Guys, we are at 1:54. That was very nice. And we just got to 2 minutes. Breathe in and out, those who are breathing. And that is 2:05. Good job. Remember the recovery breaths after you finish your breath hold. 2:14. 2:20. And that's 2:24, 2:25. Good job, guys. 2:24, 2:25. We are at 2:35, 2:36. Amazing. 2:35 and 2:36. Please breathe in and out strong. In and out strong. In and out strong. Recovery breaths. Offloading that extra CO2. I'm stopping the stopwatch at 3 minutes because everybody is breathing. And guys, that was 3 minutes. That was 3 minutes, Melissa.
2:40
Oh my
last
God, it's 2:40 last time. I knew it. Okay, that's great. Oh my God. That's it. That's right, because guys, everybody had put at least 15 or 20 seconds on top of your first time. You just put 20 and that made it for, 3:01. Girl, you crushed it. That's amazing. And my apologies, because for some reason I thought everybody was already, and then And then I was looking, actually what was happening is diaphragmatic contractions. Yeah, it's like inner hiccups. It's like your diaphragm pushing on its own to restore respiration as an autonomic thing, which is great, because when the diaphragm moves on its own, that means you're pushing the limits. And I can see that. It's like inner hiccups. It's like,
Like in April, I got to 240 and I'm like, I gotta go past
that's so awesome.
tactic, or is that something that just happens?
It happens as an autonomic, function of the body. The diaphragm just starts pushing to like, hey, let's, you can see it.
Do it yourself.
No, it just happens on its own.
No idea.
You
what's
can,
happening.
you can see it happening because you can just kind of see the abdominal area, like, kind of like, sometimes in a arrhythmical way, kind of going like up and down, and that's the diaphragm just like doing contractions and expansions, thus sending oxygen up towards the brain. So everybody did stack seconds on top of the first one, right? At least, double, imagine. Wow. Yeah. And guys, this is just a test in the long run. Whomever pays more attention to this kind of things and keeps going, it's just going to keep going up. Of course, there's going to be a plateau at some point, but let me tell you, the world record holders now are going past the 10 minutes breath holds. It's crazy. Without breathing pure oxygen like David Blaine, what's his name, the magician guy did. That's something else. But out of just pure natural given capacities, imagine if in an hour and so of a breath work with lots of philosophy and some physiology, some exercise, not a lot. We did some exercises, but we also did a lot of mindset and talking. But only with the exercise that you did, you were able to double your initial breath hold. Imagine if you keep this going on in time and you do it maybe twice a week. You want to sum it all up into a practical exercise that you can do at home? Let's do it. Let's just sit again, and we're going towards the end of it. It's 12 p.m. So if we were to sum it all up, we will do 1 minute of diaphragmatic, and you can also do it without the yoga block. You can do it sitting with your dominant hand on your belly and just go 1 minute of this. Yeah, like a wave. Exactly. So 1 minute of diaphragmatic. Then on your own, place your hands on your ribs on your own. If you don't have a partner to do it in that specific moment, belly flat, shoulders down. Just feel your ribs. That's it. 1 minute of that, and then 1 minute. Puff up your chest. That is a 3-minute breath work. Then 1 more minute full breath, connecting the 3 stages like a wave, as you said, Lisa. Now we're straight, and then we do the 3 stages, right? Belly, ribs, and chest. 1 more minute of that, and then lay comfortably and do 30 seconds of preparation, and then 1 breath hold that maybe is 30 seconds or maybe a minute, and that's it. Recover with some mild, gentle, hyperventilations. The hook breath. You walk out the door. Let's say you have the same exact person, and you both go on a hike. If you're paying attention to these things, you're going to be here, and the other you is going to be here. You're definitely going to go the extra mile. You're going to get less tired because you're paying attention to the way you're breathing, and you're breathing consciously. There's much more, guys. We could be here sitting and talking and exercising for hours. But let's just finish with the philosophy and the physiology of nasal breathing. As Richard pointed out earlier, it filtrates the air. How does it do that? The nuance of it is the first line of defense that we can see is the hair, the nasal hair. That nasal hair that has a scientific name or medical name is called the vibraceae. Vibraceae, I guess because it vibrates every time the air goes in and out. It traps bigger airborne particles and dust mites and whatnot, pathogens, that ends up or results being the buggers or the snot, right? That's pretty much what it is. It is a result of all that stuff that gets trapped there that nasal hair doesn't allow to keep going. Because if it gets into our lungs, it may harm us, right? And then if we go deeper into the nasal cavities, we have the mucosa and the cilia. Mucosa is humid, and it traps, it binds other particles that made it through. And the cilia is like a carpet that has hairs, like hair structure, that sweeps or scrapes those particles back into the throat, where we end up swallowing it. And then the stomach acids, when it gets to the stomach, neutralizes or kills those leftover particles. So that's the filtration right there in a nutshell. Thanks, Richard. So that's it for the filtering. Anything else for nasal breathing? We've already discussed mouth breathing. This is good conversation to become aware of. So more importance, right? More power to the nose and nasal. Anything else that we...
Does it direct into your brain differently when you go from your nose versus from your mouth?
That's a very good question, and I believe in an energetic way, yes, because in a physiological way, the air goes. It's all one. Yeah, it's all one channel. It's all one channel wherever the air goes. But in an energetic way, the stimulation of those of those brain hemispheres, as we were talking earlier, it's a thing that's described by the ancient yogic practices. The Ida and the Pingala. Those are the two names for the two channels, Ida and Pingala. I believe the Ida is the left and the Pingala is the right, and then it crosses over. It stimulates the opposite brain hemisphere. It's written in the old ancient texts, and you can feel it when you do the alternate nostril, as we were talking, and you can feel it somewhere when you tape your mouth. Your sleep is going to be different, as I started having lucid dreams after taping my mouth. So that's a good question. So filtering, most likely activation, energetically speaking, of stimuli, of the both brain hemispheres. Now there's something with the moistening or the humidifying of the air. As Melissa said earlier, it dries when you breathe through your mouth. It gets dried, right? It's dry air. It doesn't happen through the nostrils. What happens is that the air recruits a molecule of water, so it gets humid, and then when it gets to the lungs, the oxygen absorption by the alveoli are easier because it is not dry, it's humid. And the alveoli need humid air in order to do the extraction of that oxygen. So better oxygenation. And there's one more thing, is nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide, NO, is a vasodilator, so it just helps our vessels to be more relaxed. And we produce a type of nitric oxide through the nasal passages. And so it helps us to just have better carrying capacity of oxygen to the different places in the body. So all in all, nasal breathing, I think, is king or queen for this instance. And 99% of the times is what we should be doing. Takeaway for the whole workshop: nasal breathing, slow down, belly, ribs, and if you need it, physical exertion, use the accessory muscles. In a nutshell, the practical exercise for activating your respiratory functions in the early morning or whenever you want: 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, breath hold, recovery. That's it. Some sighings. And if you want to top it off, there's yoga poses or stretching poses that you can perform on a full breath once you've done your... So you keep that air in there and go for an instance, forward fold. Be gentle because you're going to be packed. And in the pose, after you've held for, say, 5 or 10 seconds, exhale. And you're going to feel like you're going deeper into the pose. But in the moment you're pressing against the pose with filled lungs, the lungs are going to be expanding. So this is going to help you with your lung expansion. So your tissues are going to be more flexible, and they will take, as you're complementing with the strengthening of the muscles, those loads better, and you'll have your lung capacity going up. And remember, guys, lung capacity, you can do your research, one of the main indicators or key biomarkers for good health and longevity. And you've just worked diligently for an hour and a half towards achieving that goal. I mean, more capacities, because we already have, of course, certain capacities. I thank you all for your patience. I thank you all for your practice engagement. And thank you all, yes, for your answers and questions. And thank you for your applauses as well. And this is it. This is the mouth tape that I was talking to you about. See? It has a little hole in between. So it presses the lips so you're not fully, restrained. Yeah. So I'll pass them around.